Welcome again, ladies and gentlemen, to Boss Up with Mr. Key. And this is the episode where we talk about the bosses in their industry. And today's guest is a real special guest to me. I met him maybe 3 or 4 years ago, and he's been the most hospitable person that I know, warm and giving. And you can see it at his influence. I went to his anniversary and all the people that he's touched, and the party was amazing. And this guy is the true example of not only making business alliances, making friends and turning friends into family. Without further ado, Sam Bakir, CEO of TNT Financials. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Andre. Thank you for having me.
Great, man. So, having you on the show, I'm a little nervous. I'll agree, man. I just see how you work around people, and it's impressive. But I want to start from the beginning, Sam.
Okay.
Where was it that you had your first taste of baby food?
Baby food. I guess when I was young, I was allergic to milk when I was a baby. So my mother put me on pomegranate juice.
Pomegranate juice.
which is kind of odd. I don't think they had baby food in those days.
Whoa, okay.
They didn't have baby food. So I guess beside mother's milk and pomegranate juice, it'll be regular food after that.
So the pomegranate juice and the regular food, what was your hometown?
I was born in Haifa, which is in Israel.
Okay.
We left as refugees at 6 months old. Went to Lebanon. So Tyre in Lebanon was the city where I was growing up to start with, then Sidon. Two historic cities.
Sidon, huh?
Tyre is known through the thousands of years old. Alexander the Great.
Yeah.
He had a hard time taking Tyre. Took him 6 months. He defeated the Persian Empire. He defeated other empires. One of the best conquerors in the world. Couldn't take Tyre because it was sitting on an island. And he had to build a bridge to get to the island. Took him 6 months. We used to play around that bridge. It's still there, the wall he built. Alexander the Great.
Alexander the Great. That wall is still there.
That is still there from 333 BC. Also, that's why I like history. King Hiram is the person who sent material and men to help build King Solomon's temple. So you're going back now.
Man,
you're going back 1000 BC roughly.
Wow.
So that is... we grew around that, and Roman Empire stuff and Phoenician stuff, and then from there to Sidon. Sidon is the same. There were two fortresses from Phoenicians' time rebuilt by the Crusades.
Wow.
I used to go and study there. One of them is kind of like an island castle. It has a bridge we'll walk over.
Man, it's funny you mentioning this history, because I was just talking to a friend this morning and was saying that the U.S. is young compared to a country. Certain countries, like Lebanon and different things in the Middle East to Africa, they're thousands of years old. And the history seems to repeat itself a little bit.
It does, yeah. I used to go and study in their castle, and I would practice my English with American tourists.
So what? And tell me about that. So growing up, was it you? Did you have any siblings? Or?
I did. I have an older brother and older sister, and I have 2 younger sisters and a baby brother.
Oh, okay.
10 years younger than me.
Nice size family, nice size. So growing up there, tell me a little bit about that. It sounds like you were out talking to tourists. How old were you when this happened?
High school, I guess.
Okay.
Middle school.
Okay.
I used to go fishing there, and then would talk to tourists and work on my English. I went to an American school after that.
You went to an American school. So your parents were they kind of like, hey, we want you to go to American school? And
I wanted to go to America since I was young. I used to tell my family, when I grow up, I'm going to go to America.
Wow.
They didn't know how I got that idea when I was so young.
Man, how did you? You manifested that in your life.
They still didn't understand. My dad would say, we still don't understand how, when you were that young, probably 5 years old, I used to say that.
Yeah.
So somehow got that idea.
So, I mean, you are used to being around people, and I can tell, like, this is something that you actually love. When did you notice that? Like in high school, talking to tourists, or was it in middle school? Like, when did you realize that, hey, I'm comfortable in the room?
When I was in the Boy Scouts, and I was leader of some groups in the Boy Scouts. We would go and camp in the mountains. And
what mountains would you go to?
In Lebanon. I mean, I was raised in Lebanon. We became Lebanese citizens because there were Bakir family in Lebanon. My dad was a friend to a person who was equivalent to the Speaker of the House. Used to play cards with them. And
wow.
yeah. And so we grew up around that. So always, I formed my own soccer team. No coach. Just because I have a ball.
Right, you're like, hey, let's go, let's start this club.
and we'd play with the neighborhood clubs over candy or something, whoever wins.
Ah, that was so,
yeah, I didn't have that. But as I grew into a teenager, I got involved into weightlifting and bodybuilding.
Oh, nice. So you really start having like some pecs. And
I got in competitions. I was on national TV.
What?
Bodybuilding, weightlifting, and as you know, I'm not heavy, so in my weight class.
I was gonna say, what was like your max weight back in those days?
115 kilograms.
You have to convert it to pounds.
Close to 250 pounds.
150 pounds.
250.
250. Wow. So that, I can imagine that was mass and muscle.
Yeah, that was Olympic style weightlifting.
Man. So let me go back. You mentioned something that is sticking with me for a minute. You mentioned that your dad was like buddies with equivalent to the Speaker of the House here. Yes. And they used to play cards.
Yes.
And I'm sure that card party had, a lot of different important people there, huh?
They did. And in fact, if my dad didn't go, he'll send his driver to get him. So yeah, I was growing around that. My dad would always have friends to play cards with. And came from a big family.
That's good, man. I'm starting to see like something, and let's tie it in later, but I'm glad you told me that. So let's talk a little bit about, you manifested very young that, hey, I'm going to America.
Yes.
Like, you must have seen a poster. I don't know where it came from.
I don't know where I saw that, but I would say I'm going to go to America. I'm going to start a business. I'm going to be rich. When I was young, I don't know how.
Whoa. Wow. Yeah. So, all right. So you did things like start your own soccer team. Like that shows a lot of leadership, and you went into championship bodybuilding. So it shows a lot of discipline. After you did that, like, tell me a little bit about, something you remember about Lebanon. Like, what was...
Well, Lebanon is a beautiful country. Lebanon is, you have the beaches. So I grew around the beaches. So you'd walk down to the beach, which is like less than half a mile. Wow. 1/3 of a mile will be at the beach. And then you can go to the mountains and you could ski within 45 minutes of the beaches. So beautiful country. At that time, it was very open. At that time, they used to call it Switzerland of the East. It's far from that now, unfortunately. Beirut they call it Paris of the East, and so on and so forth.
Oh, wow.
But so I had a great memories of Lebanon. And also, at that time, we had to serve in the army, but it was a joke because we were students. They treated us as students. So they'll come to the school on a Saturday. We'll go there.
Was it mandatory back then at 18 that you have to, or in high school?
High school, yeah.
Okay, yeah. Everybody served.
But it wasn't really that serious for students. So they'll send somebody to the school on a Saturday where we spend maybe 6 hours with them.
They'll prep you, and if some people wanted to keep going, come join. Probably.
I had one camp in the summer with the army. So, but we were not treated like the real soldiers. Yeah. Just one camp for.
Did you fire a gun back then?
Yes.
Okay, so they gave you some training, but it wasn't. That's cool. All right. What kind of work did you do there? Did you always just kind of work for yourself, start something, or?
Well, not in Lebanon. Remember, it was high school in Lebanon.
Okay, yeah.
I came to the United States to study college.
For college, okay.
So I came to Texas A&M for 1 year, and then UT. Graduated as an electrical engineer,
Electrical engineer from UT.
From UT.
How'd you pick Texas out of all places?
You know, I went to the library, American University of Beirut. My brother graduated from there. I looked at American colleges. I looked at Colorado. I looked at Texas. And, Texas A&M looked good for engineering. So I picked Texas A&M. Little did I know that they didn't have girls at Texas A&M.
Wait a minute, what do you mean?
I did not know at that time they didn't have girls. It was a boys' school.
Boys' school.
Army and men. I did not know that. So I wanted to, I had great grades. But I wanted to transfer out. And I saw the dean, and the dean said, no, you got to spend at least 1 year before you could transfer. So I did transfer to UT.
UT was a different world, I bet. Then.
It was a completely different world, yes.
Cool. So you graduated from UT. What does life look like after college?
Well, after college, I graduated electrical engineering, electronic circuit design. End of the Vietnam War, and they cut the budget a lot to NASA and electronics. There wasn't a lot of work in electronics when I graduated. So I went to Houston and took more courses at University of Houston after I graduated, power distributions and others, and started working in the oil industry, petrochemical plant design. I used some of the electronic circuits, some of the programming, but mainly different careers. Still electrical engineering, but electric circuit design.
It's funny that you say, like, at that time for electrical engineering or electrical work or programming, there wasn't a lot of work, but now it's something else. Yeah, I mean, I went to Dallas where electronics used to be, and they would show me resumes of people with master's degree and PhDs working as truck drivers. They didn't have work for them. They cut defense spending and NASA spending at that time. Big deficits after Vietnam. Yeah. But I changed careers. So still electrical engineering, but different discipline. So when you got on, I'm curious, and it's taking me somewhere else. Real estate is my business.
Yes.
So around that time, when did you buy your first home?
Well, after that, I didn't want to just have a regular job. I wanted to have a business. So I wanted to.
Okay, well, I'm sorry. Hold on. Don't jump ahead, because now it's another topic that's more suited for the show. So you worked in the oil field, right?
I worked in the oil field, but I wanted to save more money so I can have my own business.
So you were already thinking about fulfilling that prophecy of, hey, I'm going to go start a business in America.
Exactly. So the best solution for it at that time that I saw was take a foreign assignment with an American company where they pay you a lot more to be overseas.
Nice.
And I met somebody high up in Brown and Root, and they had the partnership in Iran at that time. We were consultants to the oil consortium. So I went there and worked for 4 years, but after that, decided I want to have my own business. So I went to the UK, I went to the US, I went to a major company in the UK that had branches many places. And I said, how about we start a new company together? Met the chairman. Somehow managed to go in and talk to the chairman who owned a company that owned super tankers and owned many, many other companies.
Wow.
Somehow they listened to me as a young guy. And I said, I can get you business in the Middle East, and you don't have a lot of business in the Middle East. The guy was intrigued. So he said, would you put money in it? I said, yeah. I said, how much? I said, about $25,000. For me, it was a lot. For them, it's nothing. But they're interested in a young guy wanting to put money in. So he called the CFO and he said, set up a company with me as 49%. They are 51%. He said, you report to the group managing director and the group CFO.
Wow.
And there's a company, go get business.
How did you, I mean, obviously you were an ambassador, you were in the oil industry, and you understood like different foreign markets. I'm trying to think like what makes you. Who was supportive of your decision back then? Was it just you?
Nobody. I mean, I was married at that time.
You were married, okay. Yeah.
I was married, so my wife and I, yeah.
So how did this sound? Like, what was the reaction when you presented this to your wife late at night?
She wasn't too happy about it.
You're like, hey, I promise this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to make it work.
She just wanted a job. She didn't want that.
Now, did you have to get a bunch of no's, or was it like, hey, the first office that you were able to get in, they believed in your vision?
The first one worked out because they were trying to do some business with a super tanker company that was not returning their calls.
Wow.
And they say, can you try that company? I said, okay. So I went over to Kuwait, different country. I went to Kuwait and I went and managed to meet with the managing director and the chief engineer of that super tanker company. And talk to them about what we can do for them. And the guy said, fine. I said, can we call the group managing director? You talk to him now? And he said, yes. From his phone, we called the group managing director. They weren't returning their calls, and they agreed to do business with them.
Wow.
so that was the first one.
So, okay, so with that business, it sounds lucrative, and I'm not going to ask how much you grossed or netted for the company, but how many years did you stay with that business?
Well, I stayed with that business for, maybe 4 or 5 years.
Okay.
Until the chairman that we built a really great relationship, my wife and I, with him. He'd invite us to the Royal Albert Hall when we were in London, to his house. He died in a tanker accident that blew up. Yeah.
Dangerous.
When he did that, I decided I'm going to leave them, start my own. So I started my own company. I started an engineering office in London. And the first business we got there was the Falklands War. We got a job in the Falklands. We got jobs elsewhere in Qatar and other places. So that's when I started my own business.
Wow.
I mean, that was own business before, but I was 49%, but learned a lot from this major company.
Yeah, so you were definitely learning from, corporate America to the point where you were able to kind of position yourself.
So we were overseas, and I was running the business overseas. But then I took a major project in Iraq, southern Iraq. And right after that, they started a big war, Iran-Iraq war, and our project was in the middle of the war. And the army would come and requisition our boats. I had divers, North Sea divers that were working for us on that project, and we get bombed. We're in the middle of a war.
What was that like? Like, you've been like Americans, there hasn't been many, domestic, wars on our soil besides like domestic, maybe urban to different cities against each other or the gangs, but to actually work in a company where bombs are going off over your head.
It wasn't fun, I could tell you that, but I had some people from England working on the project, major project going around us. We were multi-million-dollar project, but major companies working around us. And I would go there, so I can tell you a quick one. Funny, I guess, if you want to. I went in this major project, and there's a guard shack, and you have to stop. You could be shot. So stopped, there's nobody. The guard was not there. So I drove in, and I'm driving a big American car, and I had the air conditioning on max, and I had the Rolling Stones on max. Couldn't hear that the war is going on around me. So I drove in that campsite and didn't find anybody. There were usually a lot of people. And finally stopped by an Iraqi engineer's office, and I got out and said, where the hell is everybody? And the guy came out, and he was really shook up. He said, you don't know what's going on? I said, no, what's going on? He said, we're getting bombed. I said, when? He said, now.
Whoa, that's good.
So I said, where is everybody? He said, they're in the ditches here and there.
Oh, wow.
So I said, I guess it's not a good time to visit. He said, no.
Oh, no.
So I left. So been situations like that where happened to be in major battle, tanks in front of me and behind me and all of that stuff. Not a good thing, right? So eventually I told my wife, it's time to go home. We need to go back to the States. So came back to the States and changed careers altogether.
Let me ask you this. So, I mean, you had some pretty hefty contracts. So as you start making money, what were you doing with it? Did you have investment ideas then? Or?
Well, at that time it was still in the projects.
It was tied up in the projects, right?
It was tied up.
Okay,
yes.
got it.
So I did have some investments in the States. So you asked me about real estate. We first, some savings, we bought 4 duplexes.
4 duplexes. What around what year was this?
That was around 77.
77,
78, something like that.
So it was an investment property.
Investment properties in Round Rock, about 4 duplexes, which means 8 units.
Do you remember what the interest rate was back then?
It was somewhere in the 9% range.
9% range. So like right now we're kind of in the 7s to 8s.
Yes.
And see how like history repeats itself.
Yes.
9% interest.
But we managed.
I thought you were going to tell me like 18%. So that's not bad.
It had not got to 18 at that time. Yeah.
So did you all live in one, or you just rented them all out?
We were still overseas. We bought it and stayed overseas.
Oh, nice. Huh.
So my wife's parents were looking after it from a management point of view.
Well, I know his wife, ladies and gentlemen, beautiful woman, just like a really good spirit, Beverly. Where did you meet her at?
At UT.
Yeah, UT. Okay. She's Texan, right?
She's Texan. Yes.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So, wow, you bought that property. You stayed there, but eventually you came back here. What was that key moment? I mean, outside of probably turmoil, where most of your business was.
It was really the war, number one. Number two, a lot of instability in Kuwait. So we'd be going to work and back, and they would stop us going and coming, searching the cars and looking in and so on. And then there was bombs when I was traveling, because I worked in different countries. I was traveling and you hear in the news, bombs at American school and close the American embassy and an area where Americans live, where we lived. So I called my wife and I said, "Are you okay?" She said, "Yeah, you're not the first one to call me." So we said, okay, we have to go back.
Wow. Okay. It's like enough is enough. Did you have any kids at that point?
Well, my older son, Tariq, was born in 85 and we left in 87.
Okay. So definitely. Now as a family man, a father, a husband, you had to make an executive decision.
And other complications. Yeah, I said, that's too much. And we were lucky to get out of Kuwait in 87 because, Saddam Hussein invaded Kuwait in 1990, 3 years later. So, my sister said, let us know next time.
Wow. So you escaped, man. You got out of there. What was it like moving your family here to Round Rock, Texas?
Well, had to start from scratch because of the wars over there, starting a new business. And I got into the insurance business at that time, accidentally.
So you were an engineer, you worked with electronics, and you came here and you got into insurance, huh?
I didn't do it for long. I did it for 18 months because I saw the limitations.
What'd you learn from selling insurance?
You learn it's about building relationships.
Okay.
And however, I wanted to do a lot more, so I got my General Securities license, Series 7, and which means what I was doing there was limited.
Okay.
So I wanted to do more, so I started my company in 89. So I did it for 18 months with a big insurance company. I was number 1 in the office that year, number 3 in 15 offices.
Wow.
Over a year and a half. And I decided, I don't want to work for anybody.
How'd you get that success? I mean, were you just...
I love people. I love working with people.
And so you had to be out of the house a lot, like making connections, going to meetings.
Yes.
Oh, nice.
Yes.
And then I remember you saying you started a soccer team
when I was young.
Have you started any, back then, did you have to start any clubs or any meetings to help network, or you would just go to other places and events?
I would just meet with people, different professions, business brokers, and in fact, I was very active in the Business Brokers Association, even though I'm not a business broker. But I did address their annual conference. In Dallas about financial planners and business brokers and helping their clients, how we can help their clients. And as a result of that, they asked me to address another big conference. So,
so you were getting in front of what, maybe hundreds of people?
Business brokers and conferences and business owners trying to sell their business.
So were you like on stage speaking to people?
I was for those two conferences.
Nice.
Yes.
So you had that confidence. I mean, you had been on stage before bodybuilding, I'm sure too, right?
I was bodybuilding, weightlifting, yes.
What's the difference being on stage as a bodybuilder versus speaking to the audience about like, hey, this is how we can help you?
Well, there is some similarity in a way, but of course, when you're lifting, as you know, you're a very muscular guy.
I did a little bit.
When you have to be very careful, right?
Yeah, you have to be focused. Even on stage, though, sometimes you got to be able to let yourself go, but you still have to be focused on your conversation.
Exactly.
And be able to interact sometime with the audience. So.
Yeah. Don't let it worry you that there are a lot of people there.
So you left the company, started your business. How long did you really, and I don't know what you equate to success, but how long did it take before it went from the start of your business to the point where you're like, hey, I'm turning a profit, I pay, I'm successful with this?
Really, it worked from the beginning because I was successful at the big company I joined for 18 months. I mean, I made it number one in that office, number three in 3 offices.
Yeah, that was...
So it was working, but I thought I really don't need to be working for anybody. So...
Like, I'm the show here. Like, hey, I'm bringing in business. I don't need this guy taking the commission from me.
Well, not just that. I wanted to help more people in a different way than they were doing. So I wanted to offer comprehensive. I wanted to continue to learn about the business world, where I came from. So I had the natural connections with business owners, knowing what their issues are and how they want to sell their business at some point. Continue to learn and joined the Institute of Certified Financial Planners, and I did my study to become a certified financial planner. And actually, I co-started the Institute for Certified Financial Planners in the Austin area and became president of that and the chairman as we joined it when I was there with the Financial Planning Association.
Nice.
International Association of Financial Planners to become financial planners.
How did that, once you joined that and became president, how did that impact your business?
Well, it doesn't really impact the business as such, but it's the continuing learning that you have to be on top as far as learning. You're working with professionals. You're working with successful business owners. You have to give them something. You have to help them on things that they don't know about. So continuing learning is the most important part. So
in that sense, you're around a bunch of business owners and you positioned yourself as the expert in what you do, and you're hearing their concerns and their issues and the problems that they have.
Right.
And meanwhile, you're understanding solutions that can help them.
Exactly.
That's huge. That's huge. And see, I've always heard like your net worth is your network. And so when you position yourself around these professionals,
you start to build a network.
Yeah, you definitely do. That's good.
You have to build an expertise. So I built an expertise in qualified plans, for example, and tax planning, which means I could work with CPAs who don't have time for tax planning and they're not on top of qualified plans to say, let me help your clients. Let's work together to do a better job for your clients.
Nice.
Yeah.
What did that's amazing. So when you start doing this for people and you start helping CPAs, at some point you establish a brand and you receive referrals.
Yes.
How were you able to ask for referrals, or did they just come? Like, how did that connect?
You do a good job for people.
Quality work.
Mm-hmm. So you have to be on top of what you're doing. You have to offer value to people.
Offer some value to people, huh?
Yeah.
Oh, that's good. And
so our business is all referral, basically. We don't advertise. I mean, we get audited by the state. We get audited, the Security and Exchange Commission people, FINRA people. So they would ask me, do you advertise? We don't need to advertise. We don't.
Mm-hmm. Okay, you got just word of mouth, like you build up your brand that way. And that's another important thing, positioning yourself. And your brand, just having these engagements and speaking through your brand, and people just knew of you. It's word of mouth, and it travels.
Exactly.
All this money I spend marketing, like I said, but you definitely had to have a lot of leg work and be out.
You get a network.
Now, how often do you say you attended meetings or conferences back then?
I do attend a lot of meetings.
Okay.
And for example, I'm active in Rotary. I was active in Sertoma. It's a big club, a service to mankind. Was on the Goodwill board for 9 years. And I'm currently the president of Global Austin.
Wow.
So I'm on the Central Texas Community Foundation board.
Wow. So you
I love people, so I stay in touch with a lot of people.
Look at me, I'm like, hey, back then, and you're like, hey, I'm currently a member and chairman of several boards, so it hasn't stopped. So, I mean, you have 2 sons, and did you always know they would be a part of the business, or did you give them kind of some autonomy and they work their way back? Tell me about that.
Well, they tell me that I put pressure on him to get in the business. I never did put pressure on him. And they think the pressure came from naming the company after them. Now, I named the company after them because I'm proud of them, so I named the company after them.
Right.
But as they grew up and they had their degrees, like Trevor's degree is from UT in finance and minor accounting. Tariq's degree is from A&M in economics and business, and later on a master's degree, financial economics.
Nice.
So eventually, after going into the Army, doing what they wanted to do, they asked to join the business. So, but no, I did not put pressure on him. I just named the company after them.
They felt like, hey, this is our name, brother. We need to.
and they got all the education needed after that, which is they had great education, but they also did the certified financial planners.
Good. So they attended conferences and meetings with you and got a chance to learn firsthand, huh?
Correct.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. So, I mean, we've talked about your background and your company and how you build, like, when I say people build a company, it's like building a baby. And
exactly.
So, TNT is probably like your third baby, maybe, huh?
Yes.
Can you give people an idea of actually how you can help them? Business owners, individuals, what is it that TNT can actually do?
We're a wealth management firm.
Okay.
So we're looking at your whole financial picture. We start out from your tax return. We don't do your taxes. CPAs do. We work with CPAs and attorneys. But we start out from your tax return. We're trying to work out of your expenses to see where do you spend your money, how much money do you make, where does it go? Drill deep into that, into your savings, your investments, your goals. What do you want to do? And when do you want to be financially independent? So we don't call it retirement, we call it financial independence.
And then we could put it all in the software
to show you what does it take and what do you need to do to become financially independent.
Wow, nice. And with those investments, are they pretty diverse?
They're very diverse. Now, business owners, on the other hand, they have a lot more need because they're not just an investor. They have a business, and their business usually is their biggest nest egg, number one. Number two, it's really the biggest, opportunity and risk, right? So we're working with them to show how do we reduce your taxes to start with, tax planning. And put more money in your pocket. How do you keep the key employees that help this business grow? How do you keep them? What do you need to do for them? How do you increase the value of your business so you could sell it at some point? And so I joined the Exit Planning Institute for a number of years to work on that. So we are proud of what we could do for business owners, as well as, of course, retirees and others.
That is key. I mean, it is key to start from your tax returns, your preparation on your taxes. And, some people do all kind of things with their taxes, but being able to, convert some of that income into investment income, I think is key. And that's definitely a way to help you get to financial freedom.
Exactly. Financial freedom, financial independence. Yeah.
Nice. Okay.
It takes discipline.
It takes discipline, definitely.
And understanding of the risk that you have, whether a real estate owner, and we do own a bunch of real estate, but the risk associated with that, the risk associated with business. So how do you reduce that risk?
Yeah, that's good. I've always talked about people, especially landlords or people that want to, they have a property and they want to make some money off of it. The one thing I specialize in is trying to mitigate risk, understanding the risk.
Right.
If you understand the risk,
you
then
can mitigate it.
You can have a plan to beat it. And so it's good that you say that, because everything you do, you're going to incur risk.
Yes.
You have to know. I always have the saying that, hey, the harvest is going to be plentiful some years, and some years there's going to be a drought.
Exactly.
What do you do to prepare for that drought is so important about how you maintain your business.
Exactly.
That's good. Man, I love these services, and I think this is an amazing, tool that you've created to help people mitigate that risk and invest in their future.
We're very proud of that. So this is what keeps us going, helping people. It's a great feeling.
It's a great feeling, I know. What do you figure as the major deficiency that people have when it comes, or businesses have when it comes to consistently investing?
Well, putting up a goal and knowing what does it take to get to that goal. I mean, people are too busy to look forward. You have a business, it's making you money. But at some point, you're going to exit that business. But it does have risks in the meanwhile. And do you know the value of the business? Do you know how to improve the value of the business? And do you have a good handle on your expenses? And are you saving enough? And are you saving enough in taxes?
You're speaking my language. I like this. This is kind of like a consultation. So, hey, we're going to sit down next for real. But this is definitely good stuff for business owners. I mean, a lot of business owners, they don't even control their finances.
Exactly.
I tell people, control your money or it's going to control you.
Exactly.
And that's not a good feeling to be controlled by, a dollar or an investment or something to that extent.
No, good thing about business owners, though, is they realize, most of them, successful ones, that they need to have different people, different experts, because they're not experts in everything.
Yeah.
When you start a business, you're everything, right? And eventually, as you start to succeed and it builds up, you know that you need other people to help you. And business owners understand that.
Yeah.
And that's what I love about business owners.
I like that. I love that, man. Sam, you have given us some jewels today, and I really appreciate that. So, give me an idea of the next 5 years. What do you see the future of your company going?
I see the future being run by my sons. If they're willing, they're happy to do it, to grow it to a much higher level.
Good. Do you see yourself retiring, or is that in?
Well, like my sons don't believe I will retire because I love my clients. I love my clients. Like you said, they become like family, and don't want that relationship to end. So basically, having a different responsibility, a chairman.
Yeah, chairman, where you still can connect with your clients, but hey, I'm going to pass it off. My sons will make help with the decisions on that.
Yes.
It's hard to let it go, and one thing I noticed as being a business owner, you have to let go and let the experts help you, assist you with hiring the right people, and continue to build the vision as your team and your goals keep thriving.
Exactly.
That's key. And man, Sam, again, tell people, if there's a website or where can they find you if they're interested in, having a consultation or just talking to you?
www.tntfinancial.com.
TNTfinancial.com.
And of course, the company is TNT Asset Management.
Good. And this company, again, has been around since 1989, 34 years. So, looking at this background and, hearing his story, this guy has the solutions that you need. One more thing that just kind of hit my mind. A few more things. Doing international business. Did that strengthen you as a businessman here in the States?
It does. Well, a lot of our clients are foreign born. Mm-hmm. Some of them are.
Yeah.
Some of them still do business overseas. These days, some of our clients go to Portugal and Spain for part of the year.
Wow.
So, but understanding, and of course, I love travel and I love history based on where I came from and my experience. So I love history. But understanding the word, understanding the risks and the opportunities in the word. And the different viewpoints. That's what's so important.
You get the different viewpoints of people all over.
And respecting the different viewpoints.
That's key. Let me say a few words to you, and I just want you to just let me know what they mean to you. You can answer it in one word or a sentence. The first thing I want to see what it means, or what you would say about, is multicultural.
Multicultural, for example, my family is multicultural. My wife is multi-generational Texan. Her mother's side is 100% Swedish on her mother's side. And my sons, Trevor is married to a girl who's originally from Thailand, met her in the army, and Tariq is married to a girl born in Houston, but of Indian background.
Oh, man.
Okay, so isn't that multicultural?
That is multicultural. That's huge. I know his family, but I didn't put it together like that. All right, another word. Speaking of family. What would you say about the word family?
Family is where you're from, it's your connections.
Good.
And there are different ways of family. Like we say, a lot of our clients are like family because they're close friends. So you have your immediate blood family and you have the larger family.
One more word. And this is kind of like our theme. It's a phrase. Taking chances.
You cannot succeed if you don't take chances. If you're too cautious, well, you're limited.
If you're too cautious, you're limited. Now, what kind of plan? You got me into this because I know some entrepreneurs, they just take big time risk. They don't even know what they're going to land on, the pillow or ground.
But calculated risk is what I would say.
Calculated
risk is the way to go. But to just jump into the void, no, I would not do that. And that's not financial planning.
Got it. Well, hey, Sam, I appreciate you coming to the show again. You definitely have given me and the audience some insight about you that we didn't know, but also some key insight on how TNT Financial was born, how it services people, and your skill set here, man. It's like not too many that I've met, and it was a pleasure having you.
Thank you so much, Andre. Thank you for having me.
No worries, no worries. Again, ladies and gentlemen, that is another episode of Boss Up with Mr. Key. If you have any comments, you want to tell me what you thought about the show, good, bad, or indifferent, please comment, subscribe. We want to hear what you're saying so that we can make this show a hit. Until next time, have a good one.